TFA fam, welcome in. It is week 14. It is the week before fantasy playoffs begin. So let's just get to it. Got a lot of questions already here in the chat. And so that's what we do. We answer every single one of your questions to get you set up for that dub this week. So without further ado, KD23 first in the chat.
4:30. Getting here early.
Oh, you're damn right. Yeah, 3:30. Well, we got some here from 5 o'clock. I just not realized Michael in here too. That is dedication.
Hell yeah.
So, all right. So, should I start Stroud or Fields? Worried about Stroud against Jets passing defense. That's not the only thing you should be worried about. The wind or the so there's going to be some really bad weather this weekend, especially on the East Coast. So that right. I mean, obviously it's Wednesday, so the weather could change. So that's something we'll have to keep in mind. But that Houston New York Jets game is a good chance of heavy rain. Could end up being a soaker. Winds are going to be 15 to 20 miles an hour with gusts up to 25. If we're looking at that, you want to avoid that passing game. Like, it does not sound advantageous for the passing game. So I'm going to go Fields on that one. Now, I don't want to overreact now. Like I said, it's Wednesday. So weather can change. All different kinds of things can change between now and then. But as of right now, I would go Fields. And I would go Fields either way on this one. I'm a little bit lower on Stroud than I normally would be. The Jets defense has just been phenomenal for the most part all year in really eliminating just every passing offense that's come in there and played them. So I'm lower on Stroud anyways. So I like Fields. But I will say, too, this game, the Detroit-Chicago game, is in Chicago. Sounds like it's dry, but right now, winds to 10 to 15 miles an hour with gusts up to 20, temps around 40, which it's not that big of a deal. 10 to 15 mile an hour winds isn't that big of a deal to worry about. We'll have to see on that one. The other games of the concern with Jacksonville-Cleveland game, that one looks pretty rough as well. And then also the Baltimore Ravens game could end up being pretty ugly too. Right now on that one, it's going to rain a lot on Sunday in Baltimore. The worst of it may end up coming after the game, but even in that scenario, I think the game plays with light rain, and if the system is a bit faster, what model's showing us, winds are gusty, 20 miles an hour, sustained winds with gusts around 30 miles an hour. So another really ugly game. So
start Fields.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention those games again. It's Wednesday. We can check back. Weather changes drastically over that time span, but
the practice reports on Wednesday doesn't really matter right now.
Yeah. So let's go Fields right now. Michael, evening lost Dell, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, tight end, and a flex. Evans, DK, Puka, Rice, Pollard, Gibbs, Achane, Javonte, Kelsey, Laporta. Worried about Kelsey and the double teams thinking about sitting him.
Evans and DK at receiver. At running back, I'm going to go Pollard and Achane. Man. I'm deciding between flexing Gibbs or flexing both or starting both tight ends. Muted. Golly. First time.
Amateur hour. I'm not sitting Travis Kelsey. I'm playing him. I would go with Evans and DK as well. I agree with on that one. Running backs would be Pollard and Gibbs for me. And then, so then that would leave to flex either Achane, Javonte, or Laporta, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Laporta at flex.
I'm gonna go with both tight ends. So I'm gonna stick with Pollard and HN, and then I'm going to go Kelsey and Laporta.
Also, Pollard did terrible against the Eagles, and they just added Shaq. So it must start, yes. Like I've in the running back video that I did today, their run defense has started to shift. It's not it hasn't been as good as it's been in recent for on the season. So just to recap that, the Eagles, but over the last 4 games, the Eagles have surrendered 162 rushing yards per game and 4 touchdowns. They've only allowed 5 on the season all year. So they've allowed 4 of the last have come in just in the last 4 games. They've also allowed the 4th highest explosive run rate, the 21st in stuff rank, and 14th yards after contact per attempt. And since Tony Pollard has broken out over the last 4 to 6 weeks, he is 3rd in explosive run rate on the season. So this all lines up pretty well for Tony Pollard. So no, I'm not worried about Tony Pollard.
It's hard to sit a guy who's getting the workload that he's getting. Like there are a few running backs. It has started to turn around for Pollard over the past couple of weeks as well. So if he's starting to get a little bit healthier, if they can start getting him more involved in the passing game as well, that'd be a big boost to him down the stretch.
Yeah. And the channel is the best. Everyone like, subscribe. Yes. What Michael said. 10-3. Thanks for the help as usual. Let's get another W this week, Michael. Keep it rolling into the playoffs. Alexis, what's up? Season went by too quick. Won my matchup last
Always
week to
does.
place me in the playoffs. Started Cup over Swift. And that's exactly what got me the W. Won by 6 points. Love to see it. This week already starting Jacobs, Kyron, Devontae, Olave, pick 2 for the flex between Bijan, Cup, Moss, Swift, Zeke, and Garrett Wilson. I'm going back to the Zach Moss trade. Not to shine away from that now, even though he had a rough week last week. But this is a much better matchup for him this week.
I'm gonna go Bijan and Moss. Bijan has finally been getting the usage that we have been wanting him to get all year over the past 2 weeks. Now it is Arthur Smith, so this could change for no reason whatsoever. But 2 weeks in a row does make me feel better about leaning toward he does see that type of that type of usage again. So that's going to be Bijan and Moss for me here.
Yeah, I would go Bijan and Moss too. And then a different league where the playoffs started, pick 1, D-Hop, Hunt, Cooper if he plays.
So Cooper did not practice today, so unlikely that he will be able to go. Hunt also did not practice. So process of elimination. We'll go D Hop. I would have went D Hop either way, but if Hunt's banged up, Cooper, I don't think he plays. So
No, normally I don't give a shit about Wednesday practice reports, but when a player is in concussion protocol,
yeah,
then it matters. So, yeah, I would go DeAndre Hopkins, especially in a game that they're going to have to throw. They are 13.5-point underdogs against the Dolphins. What's up? Sutton and AJ Brown guy back again. I won again this week, and AJ Brown guy lost, so I'm 1 win away from being the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
let's go.
With Justin Jefferson coming back.
So invested. This is now America's team.
Yeah, let's keep it going. Now just knock it, just get that number 1 seed. Hopefully that comes with a first round bye, and then just take it all away. Win the chip. Shove it down his throat.
Absolutely.
And then also Moss or Gibbs for my RB2. I'm going to go with Moss.
Moss.
I actually like Gibbs more in this game just because the Bears run defense has been phenomenal this year. Like it truly has. And actually, To be fair, I mean, their pass defense has really gotten a lot better too. I mean, they've done a much better job. Their defense has really come around, especially since they traded for Montez Sweat. And so their defense isn't the pushover it used to be. But I do feel like this is more of a game that Justin Fields can keep close, which is going to be a benefit to Jameer Gibbs. So I do like Gibbs more this week. But in this scenario, I'm still going Zach Moss. The man saw 91% of the snaps and 94% of the rush attempts last week. There is nobody that now it's a 1 week sample, but still, you don't see that kind of usage for a running back.
Not really though, because earlier in the season when it was just him, that was the exact kind of usage he was getting, and it should have been a better week for him last week as well. He did get a handful of goal line touches that he just wasn't able to convert. So obviously, if that switches, even if just one of those he falls into the end zone last week, we're feeling a lot better about him. But the matchup is really nice for him this week.
Yeah. High upside, low risk. TFA fam. Who do I sit? Non PPR. This is a tough one. Bijan, Monty, Jacobs, Achan. Much appreciated. I'm gonna sit Monty.
Oh Lord. Oh. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Sip money too. Between him and Achan, but
And Katie again. Pop back in. Addison, Gabe Davis, or Gus Edwards, the flex, full PPR.
go and Gabe.
It really worries the hell out of me. Only I say that because every time people get excited about Gabe Davis is when he fails. When nobody wants to play him is whenever he goes off. But I
Yeah.
agree. I think it's Gabe Davis in this matchup against the Chiefs. So something you
Yep.
highlighted yesterday was the Chiefs have really started to give up more explosive plays, which is true. Last week was also the first game all year they allowed more than 25 points in a game. The defense is banged up. Brian Cook got knocked out that game. They lost Drew Tranquil, which is their number two middle linebacker. I don't know if Nick Bolton will be able to play, so they'll be out both their middle linebackers in that game as well. So they are a team that's a little banged up right now in a matchup that's really a must-win game for the Bills if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. So, yeah, I think Gabe Davis makes the most sense, especially with Justin Jefferson coming back for the Vikings, and then Gus Edwards, like I said, kind of playing more of a part-time role.
I'm trying to find the tweet, but I did see a tweet earlier today. Um, they were just talking about how the receivers in from both teams in this game fare against, I guess, the Chiefs and the Bills were a bunch of too high, I think it was, maybe it was single high. I can't remember exactly what it was, but either way, the coverages that both of these teams tend to run uh in their passing coverage, Gabe Davis, I can't remember who it was for the Chiefs, but for the Bills, Gabe Davis averages the most yards per route run versus this particular defense that the Chiefs are expected to run the majority of the time. So another feather in the cap. I'm gonna see if I can find it though.
Okay. In the meantime, Josh, what's up, fellas? Need to bench two of these in standard. Mix in Moss, Mostert, Evans, Collins, Debo. So I'm not mixing. I'm not, especially in standard league. I'm not benching
Mm.
Mixon. I'm not benching Moss. I'm still not benching Evans.
Collins is gonna be one of them for me.
Sadly, I agree. Love Nico Collins, but I'm going to sit Nico, and I'm probably going to sit Mostert. The Titans have been much better recently against the run. So they have really kind of tightened that ship up. Where earlier in the year or in the middle part of the season, they started to struggle against the run again. But now, over the last 4 games, they've allowed the seventh fewest rushing yards, the second highest stuff rate, and the 11th lowest yards after contact per attempt. So It's not a great matchup for Raheem Mostert, who also played kind of a backseat role to Devon Achane last week.
Oh, never mind. I was wrong. He does not. It's Khalil Shakir who averages the most yards per route run versus too high, but Gabe Davis does average a better yards per route run versus too high compared to single high. So I was wrong. It's still better, but and then the Chiefs are the opposite. Interestingly enough, Justin Watson actually averages the most yards per route run versus too high looks. Justin Watson week, baby.
Gross. Katie, Indy, New England, Atlanta D. I think this is going to be. This is going to be. This is going to be New England for me if they're sitting out there against Pittsburgh, Mr. Trubisky, in this glorious, glorious battle of Thursday night football that people are going to get to watch tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's out of this group, it's for sure New England.
And then Michael, defenses for playoffs, best two to play with week to week: Cowboys, Eagles, Colts, Broncos, Saints, Jags, Seahawks, or Rams.
I'll be completely honest, Michael. I don't know a bunch for defenses in terms of playoff schedule. I know the Rams have an interesting schedule. I can't remember who they play, but I do remember seeing that somewhere. Let me see if I can pull something up here. But for the most part, I'm just going week to week.
So the Rams get the Commanders, the Saints, and the Giants in the fantasy
I
playoffs.
said I knew the Rams had a pretty strong schedule.
Cowboys are going to be a no because their schedule takes a very drastic turn starting really this week because now they get the Eagles, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions is the remaining schedule. I don't want any part of that with the Cowboys. I know the Cowboys have been opportunistic, have been able to turn the ball over, but these are going to be shootout type performances, much like last week where they scored -3. So I don't want any part of the Cowboys either. The Eagles are the same boat. They have a pretty tough ending schedule as well. I think they have one game tied in between there where it's not terrible. But for the most part, it's very.
Actually, strictly for the playoffs, it is not bad. Um, we were probably thinking about earlier in the year because they went Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys, but then specifically for the playoffs, it's going to be the Hawks, the Seahawks, the Giants, and the Cardinals.
Yeah, so I don't view the Cardinals though as a great matchup though. Like Kyler Murray has been playing pretty well. So, and their inability to stop anything through the air worries me with that.
Right.
The Giants would probably be the best bet, but I don't know. I mean, DeVito can keep playing the way he's playing. I don't know, but like the Seahawks, I mean, their offense is starting to look a lot better. Like it's not bad. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's terrible, but like it's not great either. It's not like there's a bunch of juicy mashups in there. To me, I think your best bet is just to play week to week. And
Right.
not just pick one up and say, okay, I'm playing this defense every single week of the fantasy playoffs. I would just go through and just kind of play matchups. I mean, I've been doing that all year. Just
That's
continually
always what I
dropping
do.
defenses. I had the Ravens for a little while, just recently dropped them. This week I'm playing the Houston Texans. So I just strictly go off matchup.
Broncos not great either. Lions, Pats, which is obviously a good matchup, but then the Chargers in Week 17. The Saints are banged up; they're starting to fall apart. The Seahawks have been up and down. Like you said, I would just go week to week. Out of this group, though, I think it's probably the Rams, just from some of the games that we've rattled off. But again, that like maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the Rams have um, produce like a bunch of turnovers. I know they have a really low pressure rate, which is a good indicator for turnovers. Um, but yeah, it's a week to week thing for sure.
And Will, a true son in here. Will Mizzou. Who should I start, Montgomery or Achan in a PPR? I'm gonna go Achan.
Rams have the are tied for the second fewest turnovers for us, by the way. Uh, and I will go Achan here as well.
And then which defense should I roll with this week? Dallas, Jacksonville, or Cleveland? Definitely not
Believe
Dallas.
Believeland.
I'm gonna go Cleveland.
I'm gonna go Cleveland as well.
Hey, you absolute buttes. What's up, Ashton? Cotton Bowl, here we come. Let's go. MIZ. There, Will. Get old Ohio State. But then all we're gonna get from everybody is when we win is yeah, but they didn't have anybody, so that's why we won. So that's what's gonna happen. So whatever. I mean, it's not technically wrong because I mean they are gonna be missing, their starting quarterback entered the transfer portal, and I don't know if I doubt Marvin Harrison plays. Who knows? Maybe he will, but I doubt he plays. There has been much word. I haven't seen anything on that yet, but they've had quite a few people enter the transfer portal.
Well, the rumor now is that the boosters at Ohio State are trying to put enough money together to keep Henderson and Marv there for one more year.
It's so stupid. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like if
No,
he tears his ACL week one, it doesn't matter how much money you just got. Like you are now going to fall out of the probably you could easily fall out of the first round, depending on or an Achilles or something like that. Like there's so many things that can go wrong. It's not worth it.
right?
Like who cares? Like what you're going to get money through the NFL. Like
Yeah,
you are, and right now, like his stock is what he's going to be like, probably a top three, top four pick in the NFL. How are you going to get any higher than that? You know, and what's the point of coming back at that point? I mean, I guess whatever. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's a decision, but it just seems incredibly stupid for him to do that. I don't know. Do you agree, or do you think that that you don't have a problem? What was your thoughts on it? Be
no, I think it's really dumb too. Like I don't know. I can't. I just can't imagine. Like you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna make plenty of money going to the draft, like especially for like Travion Henderson, another year older running back position. I admittedly don't know what the running back class looks like for the following year, but like he's basically the consensus RB1. Like RBs don't go in the first round anymore unless you're the Jags and you're taking fucking Travis Etienne. But I thought it was wild. Simp, Fields over Herbert this week. I would, yes.
yes, I agree. Also, need two running backs, two flexes, full PPR. Monty, Bijan, Gibbs, James Cook, London, Ridley, or Kincaid. So the running backs for me are going to be Bijan and Gibbs.
Yes.
And then I'm going to flex Kincaid.
Ugh.
You know what? In this,
I,
I don't know.
I'm gonna go. I changed my mind. Monty and Bijan. I do have Monty over Gibbs this week. Kincaid and Cook for me.
I'm going to go with the four running backs. Monty, Bijan, Gibbs, Cook, and yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. If you don't want to play out the both both Lions running backs, I would sit Monty and go with probably Kincaid. And then Peace Brothers, Mitchell or Warren this week.
I think I'm going to go Warren here. If we did not have the weather concerns that Kev was outlining earlier, I probably would have taken the swing with Mitchell. I think he would have had a higher ceiling where Warren has like a safer floor. But if this game is going to be as ugly as it is, like I don't want to mess around with any of that. I think that just ends up being like a Gus Edwards 25 carries, 75 yards. Like that type of game where like Mitchell obviously lives off of his explosiveness. And if you're kind of like equalizing or bringing that down with this potential downpours and how ugly it could potentially be. I think Baltimore is also known for like their field getting like really gross really quick when it comes to rain too. Maybe I'm thinking of a different team, maybe Washington. But either way, I don't really want to mess with that. I would just go Warren here. Najee Harris also missed a second straight practice, so even if he plays, I would assume he's going to be limited. So it should be a higher usage game for Warren, regardless.
Yeah, I'd probably go Warren. If Najee misses, since you're gonna have time, if Najee's out, I will go with Warren. If Najee were to play, I would go Mitchell. And I know you're really invested in Major League Baseball, but Juan Soto was just traded to the Yankees, so that's exciting. You probably don't even know who Juan Soto is, so do you?
I've heard the name.
Yeah. Who's he play for?
I-
Fair.
I've heard the
I
name. No, I
I'm
feel
not
like
a I
he's
mean, I'm not a Yankees fan, obviously, nor am I a Padres fan. That's who he plays for. But
Padre.
I do own Juan Soto in my keeper league, so I'm excited about that. That short porch there in Yankee Stadium is going to be really nice. Anyways, hey, I've fun fact. Like when TFA first started, before we were doing like YouTube and stuff, when we had the website, like that was actually the first stuff that was published on TFA was fantasy baseball content because I launched it in like May or something like that. So like football really wasn't going at that moment. So I was writing up fantasy baseball stuff. I love fantasy baseball is fun, but you got to be more hardcore about it because it's every day versus setting your lineups once a week in fantasy football. But anyways, probably enough to talk about
I'm
fantasy
gonna
baseball for one day.
I'm gonna record this so I can fall asleep as soon as the show's over.
It's
I'm
like
just gonna
it's like
play this.
white
I'm just gonna put
noise
it
for you.
just put it on a cassette by the bed and just fall asleep to this.
Yeah, Ronnie. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ronnie. Angelo needs two at flex. Jake Ferguson, Drake London, Ezekiel Elliott, or Addison. Full PPR. Thank you in advance. Current record is 8-5 in third place.
Okay.
I'm going to flex Jake Ferguson and Drake London. I think Zeke's in the conversation. So the thing, as much as I hate Zeke, and I hate Zeke, right?
And
It's hard
I
to
hate him.
deny the amount of work he's probably going to get. I don't see them, especially on a short week. Like I think Jermichael Hasty could carve out some sort of a role, right? I don't think they're going to be feeding Ezekiel Elliott 80-90% of the touches. Like it's just probably not going to happen, right? It just doesn't make any sense. They're not a team that's going anywhere. I don't think that's going to be the case. But I do think it's fair that he's probably going to see the lion's share though of the touches. And so it's hard to really sit Zeke. So he is very close in this discussion. But I do have Jake Ferguson as a top 5 tight end this week, and I do like Drake London's matchup. So I would prefer to play Drake London, but there is a case to be made for sure for Zeke. I just think against the Bucks have been terrible against the pass this year. It lines up a very good matchup, and then I want action on this Cowboys and Eagles game because of it has the highest total on the slate with 53 points. This game could go absolutely nuclear, which we say that, and I'm sure it'll be a 20-17 type game. But Jake Ferguson and Drake London will be the two that I go with.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson for sure. And then Angela, this one kind of comes down to me is like whether you want to shoot for ceiling or floor. right? Like if you just want to take the safe way out, take Zeke. I don't think he really has that high of a ceiling, but like Kev said, he's probably locked in for 18 touches is probably his floor. What he does with them is, is up for debate. But London, I think, has the higher ceiling if he hits. So that's what that would come down to for me. If you kind of just want the safe points, go Zeke. If you want a little bit more of a ceiling with a potential, a scary floor that comes with Drake London, then I would go London.
Yeah. Ronnie, pick a tight end, Komet or Dallas Goddard.
I'm going to go Dallas Goddard. He was a full participant at practice today. Looks like he should be good to go. Kev, you were just talking about you want pieces of this game, so I'm going Goddard here.
It's actually really close. I have Goddard and Komet ranked really close to each other. I slightly lean towards Dallas Goddard, though. But it is really close. I actually really like Komet this week. Both are top 10 tight ends this week for me. Alexis, glad I have almost all the Eagles offense. Hurts, Devonta, Swift, because they are amazing matchups in the playoffs. Yeah. And then ATL or Detroit defense. TX, do you have another option? I don't really love the Falcons, and I don't really love Detroit either. But if I had to choose, I would go Detroit. If somebody out there like Green Bay or the Saints or the Texans are sitting out there, I would play all of them over either of those. But if not, if I have to choose, I'll go Detroit.
Yeah, if you're still rocking with us, let us know what options are available on waivers. Let's try and figure that out.
Andrea, hope you're doing well. Hi everyone. Need one. Gus, Zeke, Spears, half PPR. I'm gonna go Zeke on this one.
I'm gonna go Gus. Zeke would be second for me though.
McGuire, Fields, or Purdy. This is going to be Purdy.
Yeah, he's playing too
You know
well right
what?
now.
No, I'm gonna go Fields. I went and looked at so the rankings my quarterback rankings this week, I have Fields just ahead of Purdy. So I have Dak at 1, I have Josh Allen at 2, Jalen Hurts at 3, and then Patrick Mahomes at 4, Fields at 5, Lamar at 6, Purdy's at 7. And then if people just want to know the rest, it's Tua after that with Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, and then CJ Stroud at 12. And I'll have you know that I have Jake Browning at quarterback 15 this week. See how that goes. TX, what's you to start a tight end, or what's you to start between Ford, Javonte, Warren, Swift, half point PPR? So I'm going to go Javonte. I'm gonna go Swift and Javonte here.
I'm gonna go Ford and Javonte.
And I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like every single week, like it feels like the first half, Jerome Ford has is like off to a great start, and then it's like he just falls off the face of the earth. It really could just be me on that feeling, but it feels like almost every single time that's what happens. Like it starts off good, you're like, okay, he's cooking, and then he does nothing the rest of the game, and he ends up with 12 or 13 fantasy points every week.
No, I think there's been at least 2 games like that. Last week was one of them, and I think it's happened at least one other time.
Just wild.
I think the other time he like busted off like a 60-yard touchdown run in the first half, and then they were just like, "Oh, you know what? Seen enough of that. Kareem Hunt, get your dusty ass out here."
Yeah, I don't know. It's just wild, but feels like that's what happens to them every single time. William, Elliott, or Cooks at flex. This is probably closer than it should be. You're gonna go straight to
Not,
Cooks, right?
not for me. We need Walito in here. This is Brandon Cooks, baby.
Yeah, he's in a really good spot this week. Good matchup,
Great spot.
great game environment. So yeah, I agree. I'll go Cooks. Lucius, start Komet or Goddard. Did we already answer this or same one? We went well
Uh,
Goddard.
it's for somebody else, but it's Goddard.
Yeah. TX Ford or Brees Hall, half point PPR.
Ford. I think Brees Hall missed today. I know we said, we typically don't care about Wednesday practice reports, but I'm gonna go Ford.
I'm gonna go Brees Hall, but I hate myself.
As you should.
TX, which two between Pollard, Javante, Achan, or Ford? I'm gonna go Pollard and Javante.
Pollard and Achan for me.
Pick two running backs, two wide receivers, and one flex with Eckler, Javante Williams, Pacheco, Gus Mitchell, Rice, Addison, Deontay, Higgins, Noah Brown. So running back, it's going to be Pacheco.
Pacheco and Eckler. Although
This is his last shot. If he does nothing today, if he does nothing this weekend, he's I'm dropping him outside of the top 24. He's just going as a flex from here on out. It's a great matchup. It really is. The Broncos still really, really struggle against the run, but Austin Eckler out there looking like a fullback. Hate to see it.
a
But
wide
yeah,
receiver, I'm gonna go Rice, Noah Brown, and Higgins.
ooh.
And then I'm gonna flex Javante.
I'm gonna go Rice, Deontay, and Higgins,
Who are you flexing?
and then I'm gonna flex Javante. And then Lucius again, start three, Kamara, Bijan, Mixon, Achan, or Montgomery.
Oh
It's going
my.
to be Kamara, Mixon, and Bijan for me.
Yeah. It's a nice group though.
Andrea, need one. Nico, Reishi Rice, Josh Downs, half point PPR.
I'm going Rice on this one.
I
Especially
agree.
if that weather is gonna be what it is. If the weather ends up being like okay, I would flip to Nico, but it does not at this point does not seem like it'll be that way. And also, just for everyone in the room, if you just Google like Roto Grinders NFL weather, this is where we always pull the stuff from. They have a meteorologist who actually looks at all this stuff, so it's not just some jagaloon sitting around talking about what he thinks is gonna happen with the weather. And he kind of gives them like color coded in terms of how worried we should be in terms of fantasy production. So very helpful resource.
Yeah, he updates it all the time. So, like I said, it's Wednesday, so it's really hard to put a lot of stock into this. Things could change drastically, so I would wait and see how this is going to play. But right now, it's not looking good for a lot of these East Coast games. So, it's Reishi Rice for me. Is where I would go. Bruce, lead one flex PPR. Elijah, OBJ, or Mingo.
if the weather ends up being okay, this is going to be Elijah. Excuse me. It's going to be Elijah Moore for me. If not, I would pivot to Mingo. Mingo has seen at least 6 targets in 4 straight games, including 10 last week.
Yeah, in the PPR, I'd probably go Elijah, especially if Amari Cooper is out. That one doesn't look as bad in terms of whether it's 15, 20 mile an hour sustained, which is still not great by any means, but it's not as bad. I will have to see on that with Gus up to 25. Rain is closer than Chicago, but it may clear before kickoff. So that one that we definitely want to monitor. Right now it's between a yellow and orange in terms of the way they code that. But again, another game we're gonna have to monitor. I know we're gonna talk about that a lot, but I would probably lean toward Elijah. If not, I think I agree. I'd probably go Mingo. And where were we at? I think we were here. Yeah. Shelbo again. Also Zay Flowers or Jaden Reed. I feel like Zay's role should keep going up, but Reed could boom against the Giants.
I had Reed ranked ahead of Zay Flowers before the weather concerns started coming through, and that is obviously not going to change. So I would go Jaden Reed here.
I would agree. TX, Moss, Singletary, Keaton, Khalil, or Deontay half point PPR. This is Zach Moss.
Yep.
One looking for one. Too hype. Great show. Great to have you here. Too hype. Win this week clinches a bye. Couple questions. One, Flex Hall or Thielen?
Oh God. I don't wanna.
I'm gonna
Uh,
flex Brees Hall.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, Adam Thielen has fallen off a cliff since week 6, right? He has one game over that span that he has been a top 30 or a top 30 or top 36 wide receiver. And that was week 11 against Dallas, where he went 8 for 74. But other than that, he's been wide receiver 42, 35 with 10 fantasy points in PPR, assuming this is PPR. I don't know if he says. And then
Uh,
118th and
half
then
PPR.
half point PPR.
Yeah.
Oh, well, even worse. Okay. Yeah, so it's 48, 40, 24, 119, and 50th at half point PPR scoring. So he's really nothing of what he was earlier in the year, where he was just seeing these monster target numbers too. Because the last 2 games he saw 3 and 6 targets as well, and those were good matchups. Like Tennessee, Tampa Bay, those are very winnable matchups. Those are defenses we want to target with wide receivers, and he hasn't been great. And so I'm going to go Brees Hall.
Yeah. Brees. I'm gonna go Sanders at kicker. And then out of that group, I would just drop the Cowboys D.
I'm going to go with Justin Tucker on this one. I mean, we could see Justin Tucker just kick 6 field goals in that game. You know, if it's the weather's as bad as they say, it's just gonna be a lot of running. And then who's droppable? Cowboys, Algier, Chandler. Yeah, I would drop Cowboys. Hardcore. I got Jamar Chase, Nico, DK, and Jefferson. Must cut one to bench one. Who would you pick? Jesus Christ.
I'm assuming we're just sitting one of these guys hardcore, and we're not actually
Oh,
cutting
must
one.
cut one to the bench. Okay.
So I'm assuming
That is
that's
some, yeah. Because as I say, I wouldn't want to cut any of these.
no. But
But
out of this group, it's going to be Nico.
yes, I agree with this week. Moving forward, it's a home run for Nico because without Tank Dell, but this is just the one matchup. Thankfully, it comes in week 14, as long as you don't need it to get into the playoffs. But at least after this, fantasy playoffs wise, we're not gonna have to worry about it. But It's gross for him this week. Happy it's week 14 that this is coming and not week 15.
Yeah.
And it's 12 team half point PPR. Yeah, I would sit Nico.
Well, that was for a different question, but
Oh, you're right. Not the same people. uh, Ray, hey, how's it going, Ray? I'm screwed for tight end equals Henry Kraft, Chig, Fryermuth, Otten, PPR.
you have options.
Yeah,
This isn't all that bad. Definitely been worse. Um,
I'm going Tucker Kraft.
it was between Kraft and Chig for me. And I'm gonna lean Kraft with no Christian Watson. Should consolidate some of those looks a little bit at this point. Trusting Jordan Love over Will Levis.
Ray, are we rolling with Dak over Hurts for one more week? I have been Dak 3 times since week 10. I am. I have Dak at the number one quarterback.
Yeah, Dak for me as well.
And should I play Jaden Reed versus the Giants this week with the possibility of Watson being out and Love has been on fire or Brees Hall?
Jaden Reed.
If Watson's out, I'll go Jaden Reed. We should know by then. We should have a pretty good indication of what's going to happen with Christian Watson by then.
It's Jaden Reed.
If Christian Watson plays, I'm going to go with Brees Hall, especially in a standard league. Hoosier, Juan Soto to the Yankees.
Good. So there's two people in here who care. That's great.
Hoosier, tell him to go fuck himself. All right, we're not. Don't put up with that. Corion 2121. Hello, Flowers or Brandon Cooks?
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with what that weather's looking like for Baltimore. Yes.
Yep.
Ray, rest of lineup: Waddle, Olave, Eckler, Hawkinson, Aubrey, Texans. I picked up Texans D and Colts D for rest of season because they both have good schedules and both have been pretty good.
Solid lineup. I like it.
Yeah, Will Anderson's starting to. That's a hell of a draft to get C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson all in one draft. I know they traded away the first round pick for this year, but that pick's just falling farther and farther down the board. It was a home run. McGuire, Zach Moss, or Kyron. This is going to be Zach Moss for me.
Yep.
And then would you start DJ Moore over the person you choose? Yes, I would start DJ Moore over Kyron this week. On the road against Baltimore. Again, really gross weather.
Yeah, if it's a question of who's left, it would be DJ Moore over Kyron.
I'm mad I dropped Brandon Cooks 2 weeks ago and I added Hollywood and Deontay from the Steelers, but it is what it is now. Yeah, the bye could actually help Hollywood Brown. He's been dealing with a heel injury and stuff like that. He's kind of been playing through it, so I actually think it could actually help him getting this bye right now, getting the rest of their playmakers kind of healthy, and so it may not end up being necessarily a terrible thing. And then Nicholas,
I think that Nicholas was answering a question from earlier.
If it's on the teleprompter, he's gonna read it. All right.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Chivi Myers or Lot.
Skip that.
I think playing Love over Lamar is good then. Season on the line.
With the weather, I would play Love over Lamar.
Yeah, I mean, because currently, if weather wasn't involved, I would play Lamar over Jordan Love, right? But that being said, this would be something, if I were you, I would be monitoring this week. If it looks like it's going to be super gross, they're in Baltimore. And again, anytime weather, we have sustained winds over 20 miles an hour, the data bears it out. quarterbacks tend to struggle big time in that kind of entire environment. And we're already talking about a team that if you allow them, they will run the ball. And so it worries me. Now can Lamar still probably get there? Maybe he runs the ball more than what he typically would and gets over 100 yards and scores a couple rushing touchdowns. Those are all in the range of possibilities. But it just feels like a much more of a grosser game if that's the weather we're going to get, especially if it's a heavy downpour. Like it just feels like it could be a really gross game. And so I would say, as things stand right now, I would probably go ahead and do it. But I would be monitoring that game or check back with us on Sunday when we go live again. But regardless, that is something I would be monitoring big time
for
because it
sure.
is close. I have Jordan Love at QB 9, so I'm not even that far away. It's not like we're talking about my QB 18 versus somebody like that. So it's already close to begin with without the weather involved. Now it really is something that I would factor in. And then Jacoby Myers or Lockett for GV half point PPR.
Lock it for me.
Yeah, I agree too. It's shame since we lost Jimmy. It's one not lost, but since Jimmy Garoppolo was benched, um, Jacoby Myers. I mean, he did have the big game against the Chiefs, but for the most part, he hasn't been nearly as consistent as he was whenever Jimmy Garoppolo was starting. Truth teller, so Kirk Steven is over right for yes, he's out for I think they said 8 weeks, so
Yeah.
he could be out for the playoffs too. I mean, at this point, you're probably looking at best bet would be like if they made it to the Super Bowl. So, 'cause I think they set up to 8 weeks. So yes, you can 100% drop him.
Yeah.
Who should I pick up then if I drop him? Elliott, Roshan, Elijah Moore, Tajay Spears. I just picked up Chuba because Stevenson's out for me.
If you need to plug someone in for like this week specifically, it would be Zeke for me.
Yeah, I think if you're just looking at this week, it's Zeke, but I think long term it's Roshan because if we get because there's still a lot of hesitation with Roshan with people that they don't think that this is legit. They think that he's not going to do that. Like if we get the same usage for Roshan coming out of their bye, he could end up being like a league winner down the stretch with this offense. Much better offense than what the Patriots have, and so that's going to be the big question mark for that. And so I would rather have Roshan because in your league, if nobody picks him up and he goes off this week, he's easily going to be the number one waiver ad next week.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I would look at that. Yeah, and with Brees, I mean, it's only Wednesday. A lot of these guys get maintenance days off and stuff like that. So, Brad, Pollard, Walker, Jonathan Taylor start two, considering they are healthy week 15.
I mean, if they're healthy, it'd be Pollard and JT for me, but I would not count on having JT back.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different conversation when it comes to that. Some have said that he could be back in 2 weeks because he hasn't been placed on IR, and then others have said it could be longer than that.
Yeah.
But I mean, as of now, I would probably go, yeah, Pollard JT if JT was healthy. So I might need to start Zeke or Roshan.
It'd be Zeke for me.
Yeah, probably.
You just hate Zeke so much.
I don't. He's just. I mean, they just.
TX is in response to the defense question from earlier. Other options are Raiders, Tampa, Carolina, Denver, and Cincy. Tampa, Carolina, Cincy.
Raiders are a no. They get the Vikings. Tampa. I mean, you could. I think they're like. I think they're fine against Atlanta this week. Carolina. Is going to be a no. I mean, the Saints. I guess it's kind of an interesting matchup, especially when you're talking about
If
Jameis Winston. I mean,
if it's Jameis Winston, Derek Carr was a limited participant today.
that's wild. That is
Isn't
wild.
it crazy?
At what point do you either A, save the player from themselves or the team from the player? Like the dude has been that would be his second concussion, I believe, right? In a month. Didn't he have one earlier in the year?
I can't remember if he had a concussion earlier in the year, but he definitely had that shoulder injury. And everyone's like, "Yeah, he's dead." And then all of a sudden, just like, "Nope, here I am, guys." But now it's the concussion, ribs, and shoulder. Literally 3 injuries right now,
But
and
I
he was
think it was
limited.
a because they went on bye, I think, right after that, right? Yeah, they went on bye the week after, but I'm pretty sure it was a concussion.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of a different injury then
So that would
when
be
he had
2
the,
concussions for him in a month. Like,
yeah.
it's just I mean, who knows? Maybe he doesn't play, maybe he doesn't clear, but, like, at this point, it shouldn't happen. But, whatever you gotta do. I guess, they're trying to save their job, right?
I guess. I'd
But
probably yeah, I'd probably go Carolina out of that group, actually.
I would probably go Tampa if it was me, but
Either way, not Atlanta or Detroit.
probably not.
Rays on a
Right, I'm
se
on a 7-game winning streak and 10-3, already in the playoffs. Just gotta hope everyone is healthy and hopeful my team goes strong in the playoffs and maybe a Super Bowl. Yes.
that's that's it.
Especially with all the injuries that's been this year already.
Yeah.
In my other league, start 2 running backs or 2 at running back and 1 at the flex. Achan, Jacobs, Pollard, Olave, Keaton Mitchell, Noah Brown, Lockett. So Jacobs and Pollard at running back.
And then Olave over A-Chain for me.
I'm gonna go Olave if Jameis Winston plays, and if he doesn't, I'm gonna go with Achan. Truth Teller Evans. Oh, Evans and Wyman. Oh yeah, we already got that. Dale, AJ Dillon or Zeke. I'm gonna go Zeke.
Zeke.
Dual guitar. The trade I made a while ago. Cooper Diggs, a third and a fourth for Higgins, Olave, and a first right now. Projected 1 point.
It's awesome.
Jimbo, hello, gents. This is my first year in fantasy league and truly don't know much about football. I've been using Njoku for tight end position since losing Mark Andrews, and I just rostered Goddard. Your thoughts?
Goddard
One,
over Njoku.
yeah, I would go Goddard over Njoku this week, but also kudos to you for picking him up because pretty pretty nice to be able to get him.
Also, just welcome to everything. Welcome to fantasy football. Welcome to the channel. Glad to have you. Any
Yeah,
questions? Fire them off.
yeah, and now you're gonna be hooked. So welcome to the addiction
Yeah.
that is fantasy football. Crypto King, Javante or Ford? This could be Javante.
Yep.
Vito, pick a running back at a flex, full PPR. Zeke, Brees, Najee, Keaton, Dillon, London, Amari, or Rice. So running back, it's going to be Brees for me. And then I'm going to flex Raishi Rice.
I'm gonna go Zeke and Rice.
Say Brees Hall.
said Zeke and Rice.
I know. I said just you hate Brees Hall. Was contending, but my whole team died on me in 2 weeks.
Happens. That's a beautiful thing about Dynasty is you can start looking at other trade targets. You can shift your focus to other players. It's the best thing about Dynasty is that the season is never over. There's always something to do. Or on the flip side, your season starts out shitty, then all of a sudden you're looking to be in the playoffs. You start to make some moves that way. The best.
I don't know about that, but it seems like it might be all right. But it's exciting. The Senior Bowl is next month, right? Starting to get all the invites for the Senior Bowl starting to come out.
Yes. Yes.
808. Late, but I'm here. Happy that you made it. One flex. Zeke, AJ Dillon, Javante, Garrett Wilson, Devin Singletary, Christian Watson. Also, Brandon Cooks, Romeo Dobbs, and Kenneth Gainwell are on waivers.
See.
I'm going to go
One
Javante.
flex. I would play Cooks over Javante this week.
Who are you going to drop for him?
I think depending on your running back situation, I think you could look at Zeke or Devin Singletary. I'd probably lean Devin Singletary. I try not to react too much to 1 week, but I do think it was concerning seeing that Damian Pierce got more touches, and we also had Dari Ogunbowale involved as well, which did not see that coming. And Pierce actually looked pretty decent, I thought. So I think that's where I would lean.
Yeah, last week we saw Singletary drop down to 44% of the snaps and only 29% of the rush attempts with a 4% target share compared to Pierce, who played 39% of the snaps but handled 54% of the rush attempts. So, yeah.
What was the snap percentage for Dare?
17% of the snaps, 4%
Yeah,
of the rush attempts with a 4% target share.
still not great.
No. But yeah, I think with Pierce back, I think, if you were going to drop somebody, and looking at, you already have with Zeke, AJ Dillon already, and, as in terms of of depth, I think you could
Depth.
probably handle it.
Yeah.
And then in another league, 2 wide receivers and 1 flex: Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Javante Williams, Zay Flowers, Zeke, Elijah Moore, Josh Palmer if he returns, Drake London, Zay Jones on waivers.
Adams, if the weather ends up being okay, Elijah Moore. If not, it would be Adams and Drake London for me, and then I would flex Javante.
I was trying to look at. I saw Palmer's practice window is open this week, so there is a possibility. But even still, I would go Devontae Adams and Zay Flowers. and then I would flex Javante. Emilio Ferguson or Fryermuth. This is going to be Ferguson pretty easily.
Fergie Ferg.
Kells, Josh Downs, Olave, Dobbs, Nico, Godwin, pick 2. I'm going to go Nico and Olave.
I agree, unless the weather is going to be gross. And in that case, I would go Olave and Dobbs.
Yeah, I mean, Dobbs could end up being really interesting if Christian Watson were to miss this week.
I'm assuming he will.
And then Gorilla Kid, what's up, boys? How we doing? How are you?
Gorilla.
And then also at running back, pick 1, Madison, Jalen Warren, Keaton Mitchell, or Ty Chandler. This is going to be Keaton Mitchell for me.
Warren for me.
So Hoosier, I went from Barkley, JT, and Connor. Now I need your opinion on who to start. Roshan, Spears, Gainwell, DJ Dallas. It's going to be Roshan for me.
I'm going to go Spears here. Still, I don't like the matchup for Roshan, and we've seen the Titans turn to Spears whenever they are trailing, and that's what they should be doing in this game. I also want to I don't think we've seen many games, if any, where all 3 of those running backs were healthy. So I kind of want to see what happens when Roshan, Herbert, and Deonta Foreman are healthy. I just kind of want to see how. There might have been one in there, like maybe it was the game before Foreman got hurt before heading into the bye. But it's pretty clearly Spears and Derrick Henry. And when the game script is not in the Titans' favor, it is Spears.
So it was week 11. And that week, Roshan outsnapped Deonta Foreman. He played 32% of the snaps to 24% of the snaps for Foreman. And then Khalil Herbert handled 44% of the snaps. And then obviously we know what happened in week 12 where he dropped down to 22% and Roshan jumped up to 75%.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
I would still go Roshan though.
Of course you would.
Gorilla, pick 2 running backs. Mixon, Pacheco, 4, Bijan, Moss. Oh boy.
Pacheco and Moss. Bijan is, Mixon is right there for me. Ford is the clear, one of these things is not like the other, right? But I'm going to lean Pacheco and Moss here.
Gorilla, who are you flexing? I'm just curious. Because I would love to play Mixon, Pacheco, and Moss. Because I have all of them as top 7 or top 8. I have Pacheco at RB5, and then I have Moss at RB7 and Mixon at RB8. So I would love to play all 3 if I could.
Yeah.
James, is Nico Collins still a must start this week? And suggest no.
Especially not with how the weather is looking. I feel like we have now said that 72 times, but it was not a great matchup to begin with, and now if we're adding downpours and 25-mile-per-hour winds, no, thank you. And you likely have better options considering Nico Collins was either a waiver pickup or one of your last picks in your draft. So you should have options to replace him.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal this year.
Really good.
Dante, what's your thoughts on Mixon rest of season? I mean, he has been really good as of late, where he really struggled for a while despite all the heavy usage he was seeing. But over his last 4 games, he's really started to take off. He's been the RB7, averaging 18 PPR points per game. His usage is incredible. 78% of the rush attempts, 14% target share. He's been an RB1 in 4 of his last 6 games, too. So, I mean, he has just been really good. And his rest of season schedule isn't fantastic, but with his usage, it's going to be it's going to make it to where it's easier for him to get there, right? He gets Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and the Chiefs, where the Chiefs have is probably a really good matchup. The Chiefs have struggled quite a bit against opposing running backs. Minnesota has been pretty good against running backs, and then Pittsburgh has been pretty solid against the run as well. The last time we saw that matchup, he had 8 carries for 16 yards. But I think wasn't that the game that the Steelers kind of beat the brakes off of him?
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know if I would count that again, but yes, it's not great his rest of his schedule. But when you have the kind of usage and workload that he's seeing, it's really kind of hard for him to fail.
So I was just laughing when you're talking about that game. Just made me think of Jalen Warren's comments after the Arizona game. He said that that the Steelers, took the Cardinals too lightly, and they were probably like riding too high after their win over the Bengals. And I was like, over Jake fucking Browning, like you guys were like feeling yourselves after what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? And then Mike Tomlin came out and said, like, we don't take anybody too lightly. It's the NFL, blah, blah, blah. And then I can't remember who it was, like maybe Deontay Johnson. After Mike Tomlin had said about like they don't take people lightly, he was just like, yeah, we took the Cardinals too lightly. Just blow it up. Just do what I've been asking for the past 5 years. Just blow the whole thing up.
Yeah. Ardez. I need 2 wide receivers to start: Nico, Amari, or Puka, and a 1 tight end. I don't know if Amari's going to play, so this question may just get answered for you. To have to play Puka
Yeah.
and Collins. The problem is I don't love either one of their spots, mainly because of weather. So that should be taken into consideration. But if Cooper were to play, they're all 3 games are in bad spots. Like all 3 of them do not look good. Like none of them look great. And so I would probably at that point go Collins and Puka.
Yeah, I mean, if Cooper is able to play, I'd probably go Cooper and Puka, but I think this one is gonna be made for you. Hoosier coming through the super chat. Appreciate you, my guys. They're hard to pick out of garbage, my guys, or diamonds with Gorilla Kids, guys. Serious question, but also also shitting on my team. Hey, sometimes you have to laugh to keep yourself from crying, right? Let me So Hoosier was Roshan Spears, Gainwell, DJ Dallas, and then Gorilla Kid was Mixon Pacheco for Bijan Moss.
I actually think it's harder on the top guys than it is to like the garbage because I don't want to say they're garbage, but like the lesser players, right? Because from there, like you kind of have a better idea of like what like their usage is to me. Where like these top guys, they're all very similar. Like they're ranked high because one, they generally are probably going to have one either a good matchup. Two, they are always they're the workhorse. They're the ones getting all the touches, and so they're much closer. Like I think there's less dividing them than it would be for some other guys, right? Where it's easier to poke holes in a lot of those other players. And so I think it's a lot harder for the guys that you would consider the studs or whatever versus the garbage.
Yeah, because one wrong decision there, like that could sink your week. Whereas like when you're picking between your group Hoosier, like you're kind of you're picking the shiniest turd. You know what I mean? Putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah. That's that's
Yeah.
how. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's probably the best way to put it.
Appreciate you, Hoosier. We need a tight end for our Dez as well, Schultz or Kincaid. Schultz did return to practice today, but I'm still going to go Kincaid here.
Yeah, it's easily Kincaid for me. I actually
Yeah.
have Dalton Schultz at tight end 22. So
The other league, I need two wide receivers: Adams, Moore, Pittman, Smith, or Nico. Oh boy,
DJ Moore and Michael Pittman.
yeah, that's where my rankings are as well. And especially with Goddard back, talked about this on the wide receiver ranking show that dropped earlier this afternoon. With Goddard back, it does put a little bit of a no, it takes some of the shine off of Devonta Smith. So I'm with you. Ray lineup is Dak, Waddle, Olave, Eckler, Montgomery, Hogginson, Reed for now. Aubrey, Texas D. Thanks for the help. Good luck to you, Ray. Let's keep that win streak going. Augustin back, rocking with us. Need RB2, wide receiver 1 and 2, and a flex. So we're going to go ahead and just already lock in Zach Moss at your RB2 spot. For the wide receivers, that is going to be Smitty and Jaden Reed for me, and then I am going to flex Javante.
Agreed.
Boom. Hoosier, should I play golf on the road versus Bears or pick someone up on waivers? Browning, Baker, Stafford, Winston, Flacco. I'm going to stick with Goff. I don't like that look on your face, Kev. What's about to come out of your mouth? I know that look.
I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield.
I knew something was coming. I could tell. Could feel it down in my plums.
Yeah, I. So Goff has not played well, especially outside. Has not played well on the road. He's been better, in like road matchups that are in domes. But in terms of outside games, like road outside games, he has been pretty dreadful. And so also another weather concern game. It's just the Bears defense has been playing much better. So they're also coming off a bye. So the Bears defense, so they're going to be well rested. I just don't love Jared Goff. So I actually like Baker a little bit more.
Skev, we were both right. Carr had the shoulder issue and then got a concussion. Oh, Lordy.
It's going to be Stroud.
For me, if this weather is going to be as potentially bad as it looks, I would just lean Goff here. Don't feel great about it, but if that's going to be a downpour and 20-mile-an-hour winds, I don't want any part of that shit, Dewey. Singletary, Warren, Khalil, or Keaton.
I have a feeling I'm going to be Keaton and you are going to be Jalen Warren.
Yep, we are split on that one. Saints or Miami D.
Miami.
I go Miami as well. Kells, Lamar, or Love. Love seems to have more passing yards and touchdown upside. Yeah, especially with this weather, we're both going to go Jordan Love on this one.
Well, the caveat of if the weather holds, yes.
Right,
If
right.
it's going to be really important for anybody this weekend, fantasy football wise, because the weather is going to be impacting multiple games. I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games this weekend on Sunday that this weather is going to be impacting. So it's going to be pretty important to be paying attention to what the weather looks like come Sunday. So obviously, we're gonna have decisions to make. We have time to figure this out. But once it gets here, it looks like a lot of this is going to hold, or how changes may happen is going to change how I view it. Because, like I said, if the weather holds, then yes, it's Jordan Love easily. If the weather changes and it doesn't look that bad, then I would go Lamar. But yeah,
Anyway, Cody, you liked Elijah Morris. Is that if Flacco is the QB and Amari out, or doesn't that matter? I don't think Amari plays. So, now the question again becomes what happens with the weather. But I would like Elijah Moore if Flacco was the QB. But the fact that Amari is likely going to be out, like I like Elijah Moore regardless. But you definitely like Elijah Moore better because Flacco was actually targeting him downfield in this last game. And that is not something we saw with any other Cleveland quarterback prior to that. He was more of like a 6 A dot type of guy, and he was actually getting some downfield shots with Flacco in there. So who would have thought to unlock Elijah Moore, you just needed Joe Flacco under center? Tyler, start Jefferson in first week back. If yes, start two. Metcalf, Pittman, Mixon, one flex, one wide receiver.
I'm gonna sit DK Metcalf.
Oh, oh, Lord. What a group. I think I'm with you. Man, that's rough. Yeah, I think I'm with you. PK, PPR, next question was pick two wide receivers in a flex: Wilson, Brown, Flowers, Puka, Deontay, Mixon, Ford, Bijan.
So I'm flexing Mixon,
Yes.
and the two wide receivers are going to be Flowers and Puka.
Yeah, I'm with you. So guitar with Diggs getting older, Gabe Davis being a free agent, do you think they draft someone like a Rome Odunze? Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's in the cards. Troy Franklin, I think makes sense, but I also think that there's a possibility that Rome is off the board by the time that Buffalo picks. Like, I think that there's a solid chance that Rome could be the wide receiver 2 in this class and beat out. I have him ahead of Egbuka for sure, and then I think the wide receiver 2 discussion comes down to Malik Neighbors or Romo Dunze for me. Um, but it's all going to depend on, because I could see some teams being in love with Romo Dunze and taking him ahead of, like I said, at the wide receiver 2 spot. Obviously, Marvin Harrison is locked into the wide receiver 1 spot, assuming he comes out now with this rumor going around that the boosters are trying to put together an NIL deal to keep him and Travion Henderson there for one more year, which talked about it earlier. Just I would not understand it, but one more year at college, I guess, and a couple mil while you're in college does sound kind of cool when you put it that way. But yeah, I think it's just going to come down to how early he goes, because I think there could be a decent chance he's gone. But I think Troy Franklin would be a really interesting fit in that offense.
Yeah, I think it also depends on too when you talk about
Getting
it's
excited.
going to depend on how the Bills finish, right? Because I mean it's possible the Bills
That
if
as
they
well.
lose
Yeah.
a few more, now they're picking a little bit higher. It makes it a little easier to move up in the draft and get up there to get somebody like that versus if they were to, put something together here at the end of the season and sneak their way into the playoffs, and I think it changes the math. So it just really depends.
Yeah, I guess I kind of forgot about that. Like, just being so used to the Bills for the past couple of years, just being in the driver's seat of that division and not really having to think about it. But keep forgetting that they are 500 right now, one game above 500, and very solid chance that they are out of the playoffs. Smells like burning when Kev's thinking like that. Gotta love the dad jokes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. They're not even one. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, the Bills are 6-6. They're not even one game. They're at 500.
Yeah, I knew they were right around after you had said that. Made me realize they were right around 500. Tyler Goddard or Ferguson?
This is gonna be
what
Ferguson.
the hell just happened? Yeah, I'm gonna go Ferguson there as well. Gorilla Kid, I still have Browns defense. They've really been lacking luster as hell since I've had them. Opinions on holding or on waivers: Texans, Jets, Falcons, Lions. What is happening?
I accidentally clicked the Fortnite button to launch Fortnite on the computer. Oh, here. Oh no, what is going on?
Oh god!
It's trying to
Fire
load Fortnite on my computer, so I clicked the button on accident. Now my computer, I don't even know what's happening.
Firefox can get you a virus.
No, that's just sent down in the on the bottom, the Fortnite's like down there on the tab, and I accidentally clicked it, and now I got Fortnite loading up.
Dad, you ruined my game. Why are you playing Fortnite anyway? Um, let's see. I'll go Texans here.
There, finally. But it was good. I was running 130 FPS. I think that's pretty good. uh, I think I'd go Texans too. Yeah.
Hate it, but I dropped Lockett. Can't take the heartache anymore. Picked up Noah Brown. That's a good offense. Tank Dell out or on waivers. Watson, Dobbs, Davis.
I would have said Watson, but of course he got hurt again. It's like inevitable that he
Yeah.
just can't ever stay healthy, which is frustrating. Because it looked like he was finally okay. Maybe he was starting to kind of figure things out and starting to kind of get going a little bit. It was starting to look like we were going to see something like we saw him from last year. But I think you probably just hold the Noah Brown.
If I'd probably go. I mean, I guess if you don't need anyone to start this week, if you're needing someone to start, I'm definitely going Davis. Um, but you're right with Tank Dell out. Think I'll probably have Noah Brown ranked higher than Davis rest of season 4 for the most part. Herbert as quarterback. Thoughts on him this week? It can't be worse than last week, right?
Yeah, I mean it was his worst start since 2020 in terms of fantasy points. It was the lowest he scored since 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I think he bounced back. Not a fantastic matchup, but in terms of anyone you're going to pick up off of waivers, not likely that you're going to pick up anyone that you're starting over Herbert. Hoosier, do you have a certain site you use to watch the weather? What we always refer to is if you just, well, there it is.
Yeah, just click that. Just go to that's the website we're talking about. That's the link that you're going to want to look at for the weather report. And like I said, the or if you're on Twitter, it's Kevin Roth. It's at Kevin Roth WX. He also puts a lot of stuff on his Twitter too, but he does a hell of a job. It'll be updated throughout the week, especially once we get close. Like on Sunday, it'll definitely be updated quite a bit. So it is one of the most useful things you'll find in terms of at least instead of just like going to like weather.com or on your app, whatever weather, and you just like
Yeah.
type in the cities and trying to figure out what's going on. Like it's just super easy just to jump in there and check it out. So
He also does a really good job with like calling out the things that are worrisome as well. Not like it's not just like orange for this game, red for this game. Like he has like a little write up, 3 to 4 sentences on what's going to happen, what he is worried about. So it's really helpful resource. Julian PPR picked 2 running back, 1 flex, Jefferson ETN, Kyron, Zach Moss, Achan. Right now, liking Jefferson, Williams, and Moss. Thoughts?
this is going to be ETN and Zach Moss, and then I'm flexing Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm with that. Gus, an RB2, wide receiver 2, flex from my other league. Pacheco, Mostert, Achan, Ayuk, Puka, Olave, Debo. Also Laporta or Kittle at tight end. I feel like that is such a common pairing this year.
It's going to be Pacheco, Ayuk.
And then Olave for me at flex.
I'm going to go Achan.
Actually, I'm going to go Pacheco, Ayuk, and then both tight ends.
I'm going to go Kittle over Laporta.
Cav Goff for Baker.
Yeah, would you have Kyler on your bench? Yeah, because I mean, well, I don't know though, because like I am at this point of the season. Normally, I am not a big like I guess if you have to, that's fine. But if you don't, like, I don't mind keeping them because so for me personally, home league I'm in, I have Kyler as well, but I also have Justin Herbert. And so at first I was holding Kyler to see if maybe, especially the massive amount of interest at quarterback, see if there's anything I could put together for like a trade or something like that, try to flip him. But then more I start thinking about it, it's like, you know what, it might be smarter just to hold both of them because then you can kind of just play matchups rest of the season. And like Goff does have a couple good matchups here. This week isn't it, but past that, you're looking at Minnesota, which isn't great, or you got Denver, Minnesota. Those matchups aren't great at all. But then in the fantasy championship, if you make it that far, when you make it that far, they get Dallas. So that game could have some real shootout potential. But then you look at let's see what the Cardinals rest of season schedule is. Cardinals. I don't think it's terrible. I know they get the 49ers. Okay, so the Cardinals' rest of season schedule is the 49ers, Bears, and Eagles, which Eagles is a great matchup. Cardinals is kind of in between. Like at times that their run defense looked really good, other times it hasn't. And then the Bears, I think, is kind of the same way. So
Drop Jake Moody picked up Matt Gay. Thoughts?
totally fine with that.
Crystal, rocking with us. Hey guys, flex 1 full PPR. Uh, Jameer Gibbs, Pickens, Flowers, Watson, Thielen. This is gonna be Gibbs for me.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, for me.
Dog Guitar Dynasty have 3 firsts, 1 second, projected 1-1, 1-3, 1-9. He's planning on getting Marv and Malik Neighbors. If he's gone, I'm getting a Doomsday with 1-9 and second. Would you draft running backs? Dog Guitar, from what I remember, I think you have your team is set up pretty nicely. I know earlier you said um I completely skipped it. This one. That's awesome. I think whenever your monitor was going back and forth, that's fantastic. Appreciate you, Hoosier, especially the laughs. The 1-9 is second when you draft running backs. Like I say, I think from what I remember, your team was set up pretty well. It all depends on what happens with these because I think you were in a super flex as well. Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, I think a lot of it's going to depend on where the other quarterbacks fall. Um, Brock Bowers is going to be in there as well. He's likely going to be gone before the time that that he gets to you at the 1-9. I haven't done a ton of homework just yet, but we'll definitely be doing some dynasty content on the channel this year. Been saying it for the past couple of years. I really want to start with the Senior Bowl stuff. I haven't gotten to it, but I'm going to definitely make a much better effort to start looking at the Senior Bowl stuff first. Then start going toward the other early declares, and then we'll obviously have a bunch of stuff done for that, and then draft time will be here and combine and all that. So really looking forward to this class. So like I don't want to just throw out whatever here, but I think if Travion Henderson were there, and again, depending on Superflex or not, I think you definitely could consider Travion Henderson at the 1-9. But definitely we'll be doing mock drafts and stuff as well. So make sure you stay subscribed and tune in throughout the off season. Like Goff and college schedules, they play well. If at least they did. But if I pick up Baker to play instead of Goff, I'm in a rostering predicament. I mean, I think if you pick up Baker, you just drop Goff if you have Kyler.
Yes, I mean I think when you look at it, right, like so just jumping ahead to week 15, you have the 49ers against the Cardinals. That is his matchup, and then I believe Goff has the Broncos, if I'm not mistaken, at home. Hey, 1 second. Yeah. So yeah, they get a home matchup against Denver. Like next week, you probably could make a case for Goff over Kyler. The good thing about Kyler is his running ability is going to be able to help you with that. He can pick up yardage on the ground. And then after that, the Minnesota game, I think you could go either way on that as well in terms of matchup. And then again for week 17. So it's tough. If I had to drop Jared Goff, I think I drop Jared. Like you're not gonna I don't think it's gonna be something where you're instantly regretting it. You're just like, oh, I made a huge mistake.
So you feel good about dropping Browns for Texans D because I'm going to do it. Yeah, I think you do that for this week for sure.
And I guess the only thing I would say too is because it's really close between Goff and Baker. If you had to, you could probably just ride Baker Goff and just not even worry about Baker Mayfield. We're still talking about Baker Mayfield here.
Yeah, right. Yes, do I stick with Dallas defense or pick up Green Bay, New Orleans, or Texans?
Yeah, I'm not sticking with Dallas. I'm dropping them.
Yeah, I would go Texans.
For this week, yes.
Browns or Jets for the rest of the playoffs, or should I just play the waiver wire every week? It would be the Jets for this week, and then waiver wire
Yeah.
from there. Thoughts on the GTA trailer? I'll be honest, I don't think I've played GTA since like Vice City. I think that was probably the last probably the last GTA that I played. So I can't
um,
I've seen some talk about it. One of the things I saw on Twitter today was like they were putting like people from like Florida that made the news that they were like working them into the game. But that is really the only thing I've seen about it. So I have no thoughts.
I haven't seen the whole thing. I saw bits and pieces of it. It's about time. Yeah, I mean, obviously, GTA 5 has been around forever. But it's also they've just done incredible work with updating it and doing all this. And it's like turned into this own like community and everything else. But yes, I mean, it looks absolutely incredible. I know people. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but I know people were real pissed off that it looks like it was going to start on the PlayStation for the first year, and then after that they were going to release it to like PC and like Xbox and other consoles, and so people were fucking pissed. But I mean, get you a PlayStation, I guess. But yeah, it does look really good. So I yeah. Has anybody played the new Warzone? That's another question. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on the new Warzone that just dropped today. But anyways,
Joey of the month. Have a buy setting up my DST week 16. Have Denver versus New England. Do you like Colts versus Raiders, Buffalo versus New England, or Rams versus the Giants week 17? Probably Buffalo for week 17.
yeah,
Rice and Flowers with a possible bad weather game in Baltimore. I had Rice ahead of Flowers regardless.
yeah.
The real deal, Michael Gill, still rocking with us. Like and subscribe. Please listen to Michael and do what he says. We do appreciate it. We are on our way to 55 hundo as our next milestone. Next suggestion. Who you guys have winning this week? Eagles at Cowboys, Jags, Browns, Bucks, Falcons.
I'm gonna go Bucks. Um, Probably go the Browns.
And then I'm going to go Dallas.
I think Dallas does win too. I think they split this. Obviously, the Eagles won the first matchup. I think the Cowboys take the second one. And then people will start really freaking out about the Eagles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd go Cowboys. Yeah.
You think T Higgins due for more targets in Cincy offense, or Browning just continue to focus on Chase? Uh, I can't remember exactly the snap share that he had, but he did have far fewer snaps than Chase, so it could also just be a case of they were like ramping him back up. But I think this offense is going to get funneled through Jamar Chase. So I think he could see, a handful more than what the three that he had in this past game. But I don't think it's gonna get, be like a 50-50 split between the two of them.
Right. I mean, so T Higgins played 81%. Or you ran 81% of the routes to 95% for Chase, and then he only saw a 8% target share compared to a 33% target share for Jamar Chase. I mean, even Tyler Boyd actually saw a 17% target share. I think that flips for sure.
Miami or Green Bay's defense.
Yeah, I'm going to play Miami.
Miami for me as well. And last one here from Josh. Forced to play Pickens tomorrow due to some injuries. First round playoffs also lost Andrews, but got Justin Jefferson back. Give me a realistic stat line Pickens could have. I mean, he could realistically give you a zero. Um, I don't. I have no idea what to think with Mitchell Trubisky at the helm going up against a Bill Belichick
I think
defense.
a reasonable projection for him is probably like 8 to 10 PPR points. I think is reasonable. I think that's being fair. I think you're probably talking about like, something like 4 for 50 or something like that could be possible. It's obviously not great. Um, just the matchup is really bad. The Patriots have defense has still played pretty well. I mean, they've done a really good job of shutting teams down. I mean, and now you're talking about Mitchell Trubisky out there, at quarterback. So I think that is probably where I think just being realistic. I think that's the way I would look at it for Pickens. It's not great for any of them.
No. Miami or Houston D.
Miami.
Jelly of the month. Half PPR need two running back and a flex. Achan Barkley, Monty Puka. Not sure Puka hurt. I mean, he was limited today, and the fact that he came back to the game last week when that looked really
And he
bad.
said, Sean McVay said that he's fine, that he's good to go. They're just being smart with them. They're going to limit him, but they're not concerned with them at all.
Yeah.
So
And I would just run out all three running backs.
yeah, I probably would too.
There you have it. Week 14, Wednesday edition of the Start Sit is in the books. We will be going live again on Sunday morning to answer all of your questions. Hopefully by then we'll have we obviously will have a much better idea of what's going to go on with these weather games, but we will be live again on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern up until about 12:30, answering your start set questions once again. One more here from Josh, then we all got to go. Start two of these four: Gibbs, Kyron, Moss, Henry.
Moss.
Moss and Kyron for me.
Yeah, I'll agree. Yeah, Moss and Kyron.
Just those Browns have Jacksonville, who is their QB. Likely going to
CJ
be
Beathard.
CJ Beathard.
Yeah.
So
The guy who almost got himself hurt in the same game.
yeah, that would have been
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the weather. It's hard to really tell with it being Wednesday, but I would definitely say that definitely want to tune back in on Sunday because we'll have a much better idea of what the weather's going to look like and kind of be able to go
yeah
from there. Right now, it's kind of a shot in the dark because it's still only Wednesday. A lot of things can change. And appreciate you, Josh, for subbing. And if any of you haven't already, if you're new here, we do appreciate. That's all we've really ever asked for is a sub and a like, and that is it. And let's win some championships. We're heading into the playoffs. That's the best time of the year. Hopefully, your team's made it, and we can lock up some fantasy championships with some money or brag rights, whatever you play for. And then, football never stops because shortly after that is whenever we'll start, like you mentioned, all of the prep for the rookie class that is coming in. So, and
yeah
this year's rookie class is so much more fun than what last year's was. Last year's was not fun at all, really, to cover. It was even at running back, it was pretty gross. There was a couple guys, and then it was like, who the hell knows after that? Once you got past like Charbonnet, it was like, I don't know, like it was all over the place. I think this year it looks way better. So I'm really excited for this year's rookie class. So I know a lot of people like tune out, especially, but and I say this a lot, but I think it's even if you just play redraft, it is super important knowing who the vast majority of these rookies are, because had you would have known about Puka Nakua before the season started, right? Like it wouldn't have been like, who's this guy? Where's this guy coming from? Most people had never heard of him, and so I think there's a lot of important things that you can gain from really following the process for these rookies and really kind of getting your own takes for who these guys are.
Yeah,
So we'll
for
be
sure.
doing all that with all the rookie stuff. So we are excited about that. Anyways, that being said, hope everybody has a good night. Hope everybody has a good rest of the week, and we will see you. We'll be right back here. Actually, we'll be back here tomorrow night for the DFS breakdown for the Week 14 slate with Maddie, and then we'll be back here again on Sunday to do this all over again. Have a lot more information. He'll have the actives, inactives, and then the weather updates from there. So let's have a good rest of the week. And what? Well, you guys gonna be my guys for college football? Yeah. Hey.
Not during the season, but
Yeah. One last question. Yeah. What's your last question there? Truth.
who's your? I still tilt about the Penn State game. I don't know, at least 3 times a year.
Truth. You starting Zeke over Brees or Swift?
Swift, Zeke, Brees for me is how I would rank them.
It would be Swift, then Brees, then Zeke for me.
And then Roshan would be last of the group.
But like I've said, I think long term, I think Roshan could end up having more of ceiling. We'll see, but that's the way I would look at it. Anyways, once again, that being said, let's have a good rest of the week, and we will see you very soon. Maybe tomorrow night. If not, we'll see you Sunday. Bye.